It's Thursday, December 12th, and this is now on HNN.
The Jaws Big Wave Championship on Maui is called on as organizers predict 45-foot surf.
Meanwhile, the giant waves are already causing flooding in some coastal areas.
Firefighters rushed to a condo fire on Wilder Avenue overnight. We'll have the latest.
The American people watching today know that this is an impeachment movement that is losing steam.
Political fireworks as the House Judiciary Committee holds its final debate on articles of impeachment. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill with the heated hearing.
Voters in the UK cast ballots that could finally end the Brexit battle. I'm Ian Lee in London with what's at stake for Britain's Prime Minister.
These stories and another big name performer is heading to Aloha Stadium. Coming up on This Is Now.
Aloha everyone, we are following some breaking news out of Waipahu. Police are on the hunt for at least one suspect in an armed carjacking. We're told the incident started in Waialua, then the suspects made their way to Waipahu. These photos are from our photog at the scene on Kahualena Street. Now 3 suspects are reportedly in police custody while the search is on for the 4th, who may still be armed. Now the Department of Education says Waipahu High School and August Aarons Elementary School are on lockdown right now. And of course, this is a developing story, so we'll bring you any details as they become available.
And just to describe to you what we're seeing for our podcast and listening only audience, we're seeing cop cars there. They do have the streets blocked off. We see several emergency vehicles on scene. And then in another picture we've gotten in from a photographer at the scene, we do see a man in handcuffs. We don't know exactly what his relation is to this scene, but there is a man in handcuffs on the side of the road as police look like they're questioning him there. But in the meantime, we're going to switch to some other news. We have some live pictures to show you as well. This is a pipeline on the North Shore where there is just some dangerous surf building.
That's right. A high surf warning remains in effect for most north and west shores of the state. And of course, the Jaws Big Wave Championship on Maui has officially been called on this morning as organizers are predicting monster surf.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hi everyone, Ashley and Jonathan here. Our guy Hagi is there. He must be in heaven. He just filed this report. Let's take a look.
Let's check in with Guy.
How's it, everybody, on this giant wave Thursday? I'm at Peahi over on Maui watching Jaws. The big wave contest is on. Some of the best, challenging some of the biggest waves ever surfed here, paddling anyway. They've towed in larger waves, but you can see giant waves offering up some of the most unbelievable conditions. Tube rides on hand. Look at that! Oh my gosh, so we've been seeing that all morning long, as well as what you can expect. These life-threatening conditions offering up some heavy beatdowns, some spectacular wipeouts to go with those insane rides. And obviously the cliffs are crowded with crowds here, but this is a very exclusive crowd because the public's not let in here. This is private land, but the WSL has opened it up for us. So lucky for us and lucky for you at home that you can see some of the action. Now the surf should hold big throughout the day. In fact, the high surf warning is on for the entire state except for the Big Island. But the Big Island's west side is under a high surf advisory. So we've got dangerous waves statewide, life-threatening too. And then in addition to that, over on Oahu, it's too big to run the Billabong Pipeline Masters, at least for the half of the day. They're going to put the contest on hold until 12:30, and then they're going to make a decision whether to run the contest. If not, most likely they'll run it tomorrow. And as far as the eddy, they have decided early that this swell is not enough for them, so they'll wait for the next subsequent swells. And there will be more swells. In fact, 2 more swells coming in behind this one over the next several days that will keep the high surf alerts going, keep the life-threatening conditions going as well. So things on Maui looking wild and woolly. It's very, very exciting. So stay tuned for Hawaii News Now for a complete wrap-up later tonight.
Woo! Watching those surfers, my stomach is in knots.
Yeah,
it's
the
like,
drop-ins.
Oh, it's like that feeling you get on a roller coaster.
I know, and now we've learned that high surf warning has been extended till 6 a.m. tomorrow. It was originally just up till this evening. Now it's extended even further.
That's right, and the high surf is causing some problems in some areas, coastal areas already. So Maui County says Baldwin Beach Park will remain closed until further notice because of flooding. And meanwhile, back here on Oahu, the giant surf washed sand, rocks, and vegetation over the roadway at Sunset Beach overnight. Police warned drivers to slow down as crews work to clear the debris from the highway. highway.
And of course, we're going to have crews on Maui today. Guy's going to be back up there for Jaws. And then overnight, we're going to have people watching what happens with the high surf overnight to see if is there any more high surf coastal flooding like we're seeing there in this video. But of course, we'll keep monitoring it and keep you up to date on all our digital platforms and on TV as well.
And it was a busy night overnight for
Oh, yeah.
Honolulu fire crews who put out a 2-alarm blaze on the 15th floor of a Makiki apartment. Lacey Denise has the details.
Honolulu fire investigators today are looking into what caused a large 2-alarm fire in Makiki overnight. Flames could be seen pouring out from a window on the 15th floor of a condo tower on Wilder Avenue at around 6:30 last night. Dozens of fire personnel responded to the scene and shut down a portion of the road while they battled the flames. We're told no one was home at the time, but it was reported that a man and a woman were in the process of moving into the unit with their son. Firefighters were able to extinguish the blaze in about 30 minutes.
That fire got bigger and bigger and bigger. Oh my God, I started crying because it was outrageous. And I'm thinking, and people are screaming to everybody in the building, get out, get out, get out, get out.
HFD said the building did not have a sprinkler system, but did have a fire alarm.
Thank you, Lacey, for that report.
Now, more than a week after the deadly naval shipyard shooting, some workers say they're still worried about their safety. Last week, Wednesday, 22-year-old Gabriel Romero, a sailor from San Antonio, Texas, was on armed watch when he shot 3 civilian workers, killing 2 of them before turning the gun on himself at Dry Dock 2. Now, multiple sources told Hawaii News Now that weeks earlier, there was another suicide at Kilo Pier. They say a crew member with the USS Chicago was also assigned to sentry duty when he took his own life. We're told some shipyard work has resumed, but some workers were told that they could take as much time as they need to cope.
Now, HNN has been committed to years for telling the homeless saga that's going on in our state, and we have another update regarding that.
Yep, that's right. New tents to help the homeless transition into shelter will be popping up at parks across Oahu, and it's all part of the Honu program. Because the hub is mobile, the city says the Outreach Navigation Center will be able to assist more people. It will be open 24/7 with police and service providers on hand, and the first Honu tents will go up later this week at the Waipahu Cultural Garden Park. Now, the hope is that people will spend a maximum of 3 days in these units. Mayor Caldwell is looking to put them also at Old Stadium Park, and the project is a partnership between the city and the state and is funded with money from state lawmakers.
Getting creative there. It's good to see.
Yeah, those are military-grade tents, so they should last.
An alternative approach there. All right, we're going to switch gears to the impeachment inquiry.
That's right. The House Judiciary Committee is expected to vote on articles of impeachment soon, capping a second day of spirited debate. Here's Natalie Brand from Capitol Hill.
The amendment is not agreed to.
In a final show of political fireworks on the House Judiciary Committee, Republicans propose amendments to the articles of impeachment against President Trump. All are expected to fail, with Democrats outnumbering GOP members on the committee.
The American people watching today know that this is an impeachment movement that is losing steam.
No president is supposed to be a dictator in the United States.
Lawmakers are considering 2 charges, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. If they pass out of committee, the articles face a full House vote likely next week.
Democratic leaders say they're confident they have the votes to pass articles of impeachment, but a handful of Democrats could defect.
This is a vote that people will have to come to their own conclusion on, and the facts are clear, irrefutable, in fact.
If you watch the impeachment inquiry, the only bipartisan vote was no.
President Trump did not touch on impeachment at a White House event on childcare and paid parental leave, but on Twitter he called the hearing phony and retweeted arguments made by several Republican committee members. CBS News has learned the president is considering adding attorney Alan Dershowitz to his personal legal team if impeachment moves to a trial in the Republican-controlled Senate. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
More developing news from the Asia Pacific to get to.
New Zealand police and military specialists have launched a risky operation to recover the bodies of 8 victims of the deadly volcanic eruption on White Island. 2 helicopters will take the team to the site. They'll have to wear protective clothing and breathing apparatuses. Scientists have warned that the gases on the island are so toxic and corrosive that a single inhalation could be fatal.
And for our podcast listeners, just so you know, we're looking at some video that's brand new from CNN today, and it's still smoldering there. We're still seeing that steam venting up into the air. And you know, you just got to feel for the families of these victims and hope for the best. Really, really hope that someone's safe there. All right. Now we're going to switch gears yet again. We're going to go over to Europe.
That's right. Voters in the United Kingdom are going to the polls today for the third general election in less than 5 years. So this crucial vote could finally decide the long-running Brexit battle. Ian Lee reports from London.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson looked relaxed as he showed up to vote with his dog Dylan, but his political future is on the line. Voters are electing a new parliament, but make no mistake, this is a referendum on Johnson's Brexit plan.
Yeah, I voted for Boris Johnson because I think he's the best man for the job.
Boris Johnson, to be honest, I don't trust that guy. I do not trust him at all.
In 2016, UK voters chose to leave the European Union, but 3 years later, political turmoil rages on, and there's still no exit plan. Johnson, who leads the Conservative Party, says enough is enough. If he wins, he promises to bulldoze Brexit through Parliament by January 31st. But opposition Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn pledges another Brexit referendum if he wins, a chance to remain in the EU.
Great victory.
One of the big factors in this election is going to be the turnout of younger voters who predominantly want to stay in the EU.
This election is so important. It's a generational one shot. So we are trying to get people to the station to get the turnout as high as possible.
With the UK's future at stake, candidates are nervous voters may switch parties because of frustrations over Brexit.
I think it's going to be a hung parliament, and I think we'll carry on being the laughing stock of Europe.
In such a deeply divided country, there's doubt any outcome will bring the United Kingdom back together. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
And I was just checking the exit polls, and it does show, these are exit polls, no official results, that Johnson is narrowly winning that race.
I wonder what their voter turnout has been like over these elections, if they're getting larger or smaller.
Well, like they said in that story, it all depends on that young vote. They're really making an effort to get them out there, so we'll see if that makes a difference.
Yep. Switching to aviation news now, Southwest Airlines has reached a deal with Boeing over lost revenue from the grounding of those 737 MAX planes. Now, the planes have been grounded since March after 2 fatal crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia that killed 346 passengers. Now, Southwest is the largest operator of the 737 MAX planes, and the company says it plans to share $125 million with its employees. Pilots for the company sued Boeing back in October, saying they lost more than $100 million in income because of the grounding.
Good update there. I hadn't heard anything about that in a while. Also, you know what? I feel like I haven't heard much about vaping, and I know you have an update on that as well.
The number of vaping-related illnesses across the country increased again this week. According to the Centers for Disease Control, there were 2,409 lung injury cases linked to e-cigarettes or vaping products. That's up 118 cases from last week. There have now been 52 deaths in 26 states and D.C., and of course more deaths are still under investigation.
An important summit at the White House today.
First daughter Ivanka Trump says 1 out of every 4 mothers returns to work within 2 weeks of giving birth because she can't afford to miss a paycheck. So today President Trump joined her at the White House for a summit calling for reforms on family leave and affordable childcare. Here's Katherine Johnson.
President Trump joined his daughter to wrap up the White House summit on supporting America's working families.
I had a very busy time and a very busy day, and my daughter said, "You will be here," so.
Ivanka Trump led the summit's discussions with a bipartisan panel debating policies on long-delayed paid family leave and affordable child care. The president gave his stamp of approval.
We want every mother to have the chance to spend those precious few weeks with her newborn or adopted child. And I understand statistically, they show statistically it's so much better for the baby in growing up.
President Trump highlighted a breakthrough earlier this week when congressional leaders reached a deal to offer 12 weeks of paid parental leave to federal workers.
With this important step, we are delivering, and we're really delivering like nobody's, I think, ever delivered before.
The president was joined on stage by 2 mothers who spoke of the importance of affordable child care.
I wouldn't have been able to work and go to school to become a teacher.
As presidential advisor, Ivanka Trump has made working families her trademark issue.
As a mother of 3 young children myself, I know that the hardest, most important, and most rewarding job on the planet is being a parent.
Women now make up nearly half the American workforce, and political leaders say it's time for federal policies to match that reality. Katherine Johnson, CBS News, Washington.
When you said 2 weeks is what most people take after giving childbirth, that's just blowing my mind right there.
Yeah, so federal workers looking like they're on the path to getting 3 months. So we'll see what happens with that.
All right, good development there. All right, moving on to consumer news.
Yep, this is all for you, Jonathan. You love caffeine, and if you need
Give it
more
to
in
me.
your life, Pepsi has got you covered.
Not a Pepsi fan, Coke drinker.
Well,
I'm so bitter
for
here.
you Pepsi people, the company's new drink called Pepsi Cafe has twice as much caffeine as a regular soda. So it's a coffee-infused cola. It also comes in vanilla, and it'll hit stores in the U.S. in April. Now, Pepsi reps say cola has been, the sales for cola have been flat for the last 2 decades, and they say that's because consumers are looking for drinks that are functional, meaning they provide some nutritional benefits or provide extra energy.
Do you remember Crystal Pepsi?
No, I'm not a soda drinker.
Well, this was back in the 90s.
Okay.
It was like, I don't know, I feel like sodas are constantly trying to reinvent themselves, but then it always comes back to the classic.
What was that one?
Crystal, it was clear Pepsi.
Oh.
Yeah, it was all the rage.
Okay.
They brought it back briefly in the 2000s, but it didn't last long either way. We'll see how this one goes.
Why Coke over Pepsi?
I don't know. I think Pepsi is just a little too sweet for me.
Okay.
And that's all I can say. I don't feel as much of a rotten teeth feeling from drinking Coke as I do from Pepsi, I guess.
You're so funny.
All right. You know who picked these stories today?
I know.
I did.
More Jonathan stories. Here's some royal news. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, was once a briefcase model on the reality game show Deal or No Deal. Well, the briefcase she once used on the show from 2006 to 2007 could be sold for a nice chunk of change.
How do we know it's her briefcase? There's hundreds of them.
That's true.
Like, I guess she held on to it. Maybe she walked off set with it or something.
So according to Collector's Ransom Auction, that briefcase is expected to sell between $4,000 and $6,000, and the auction takes place next week in Calabasas, California.
That's very cool. You know, that just reminds me, I don't know if you saw this. Remember that story we did about Olivia Newton-John's grease jacket selling? Did you see what happened to that yesterday?
The guy who bought it
gave
it
it
back.
So cool.
And he paid almost like $250,000.
Yeah, very cool. And like her reaction to that video is priceless. You can tell she was really happy to get it back.
It must be nice to have that much money where you can just buy something and then give it back.
He just wanted it in good with Olivia Newton-John. You know.
Big Grease fan.
Yeah. All right, another big name in music coming to Aloha Stadium.
I'm so excited. So this morning, you guys, Aloha Stadium announced the addition of another big name performer for the Dream Weekend Festival later this month. Usher is going to be a part of the lineup that includes Ice Cube, rap group Migos, and DJ Marshmello. Tickets are on sale now, and the festival takes place on December 28th.
You remind me of a girl.
Oh, so good. Jonathan's been singing Usher songs all morning.
I have been. And you know, I'm not even the biggest Usher fan, but cool. It's so cool we're getting these bigger names in music coming. TLC on the way. Even Macy Gray's coming to the Blue Note. I haven't heard from her in a while. There's way more than I'm listing off the top of my head, but I do feel like we're getting a new upswing of cool musicians coming.
Yeah, well, when the Dream Weekend organizers, they were like, more names will be announced later. I didn't expect Usher, you know, that's big.
Sure. Very cool. And Marshmello, your favorite.
Ice Cube. I love Ice
very
Cube.
cool. Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Cool. And and Marshmello's huge with the youngins, you know. I shouldn't knock it. All right, we're gonna take you outside again to that monster surf. And just check this out. We're going to leave this live shot up for you for just a little bit for you to enjoy it. You guys have a great day. Tomorrow's Aloha Friday.
Can't wait. Have a great day, everyone.